I ask her to do them first.
Okay.
So like where you led your horse up onto that, I would stand off to the side and send her away and try to get her to go on it.
Yeah.
She's pretty willing to try things. She might be the first or second time she goes across that, she might be a little antsy about it, but I don't think.
And it tends to balance to be down on that side, so it's what I found is it's easier to start them on that side. Or that's what I figure,
And that's another thing. Yeah. I had her jumping over barrels and stuff, and one of the things that we do is I have 55-gallon barrels, and I have them screwed together so they're too long, so they're like 6 foot
and they
long.
don't just not roll apart.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll put 2 sets of those out there, and I'll leave a gap between them about like that.
Okay.
And when I ask her to go to them, I'll drive her to it, and I don't care. At that point, I don't care what she decides to do as long as she doesn't want to turn around and go away from them.
Okay.
So if she decides she wants to kick them open and go through that crack, I'm okay with that. Okay. If she decides right away she's going to step over them, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So to start out with, all I'm interested in is her staying interested in that project and not turning around and wanting to get away from it.
Yeah.
So that's when I, in the same way I do. I mean, that's the same way I started, when we loaded her down at your mom's. It was kind of a helter-skelter. She went in, but she was all nervous, and we had to use grain to get her in there. Well, that's what I started doing with the trailer is I would circle her behind the trailer, and the only shot she gets to stand and relax is if she stands right at the doorway and starts sniffing in the trailer.
Yeah.
And if you do that, I mean, usually a horse that's level-headed like her, I mean, it didn't take 15 minutes and she walks in and out of the trailer by herself. So
it's great.
So it's just, it's just something she's gonna. And in this situation, you're gonna keep putting her in a position where she's either got to keep going around or, she's gonna make the decision to step up on it and then realize it's not nothing that's gonna jump up and bite her.
Right now, I'm just waiting for her to sniff it.
Yeah.
And I was telling Misty when she brought her in here, she turned her around and she brought her up to them steps, that block.
Yeah.
And I said, I had some 16 by 16 blocks that were 6 foot long, and I had them stacked outside. And she was actually walking. I had her and 2 other horses there.
Yeah.
And they were walking over those.
Yeah.
And I said, and it was about that high in the center. And I said, holy watch her, she might step up there on that thing.
Yeah.
Because she might try it, she just, it's just something, and she's not real sure what you want her to do. And the big thing with them, I mean, I'm sure you know as well as anything is, just stay relaxed. She's going to try about anything you ask her.
Yeah.
If she doesn't sense you getting nervous about it, she's not going to get too nervous about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just unsure.
Yeah, and I see that she's offering other things.
Yeah.
I'll go around it. I'll trip over it.
I'll stand near it. Yeah. Yeah. Now that I think about what you said about her liking to trot, her mom had a beautiful trot, and that's how he picked her out. The whole herd of about 10 or 15 bay mares. He said that one.
Yeah.
Because we saw the trot,
You were asking me about her, if she rides level or downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with my saddle on her, I think she looks pretty level.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she's, got a low front end by any means. So, I don't know. She's been awful comfortable to ride.
That's great.
I had 2 quarter horses there with her at the beginning of the month, and they were, the one was just a great big old lumbering thing, and just like and he wasn't much fun to ride.
Nice response there where she lowered her head and purposely stepped off.
Yeah, you know, we're pretty adamant about keeping her attention and getting her in the position that we want her in. Because, you know, it's like I told Misty, there's nothing worse. You know, the first couple of times I let her out into the arena, she'd just start wandering off. And it's like, I'm not out here for you to not pay attention to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, we really focus on making sure they keep their attention on us.
Yeah, and that's something I struggle with Gift. You know, I'd either call on him in class when I'm lunging him. As soon as the attention slips away, I make him change direction, you know. But
well, and
yeah.
I tell people too, you know, and I'm a big advocate of even when you're trail riding, you got to give your horse something to think about, because there's a lot of horses out there, they'll stick their nose in another horse's butt and walk that way all day long and not think about a single thing.
Yeah.
And I'm still, I mean, we have a 13-year-old gelding at home that I still goof around with a lot on the trails, you know, circling him and having him stepping over stuff that everybody else goes around.
Yeah.
And it's just, those are just things that, you know, if you ever need your horse to do something, you got to practice it with them. Casually practice it, because if you get in a tight spot, then you'll know they'll do it. I had a horse one time, a gelding, that the guy told me he was deathly afraid of motorcycles and four-wheelers, and so after I started doing groundwork with him, I think the thing that people totally underestimate from groundwork is how much it gets the horse to trust you. And I had him on that 12-foot rope, and one day I was standing out, the four-wheeler was out in front of our barn, and I went out and sat on it, and I just had him circling me while I was sitting on the four-wheeler, and I started it, and he just kept circling me. And so by the time that guy came to pick him up, I could drive the four-wheeler across the parking lot and have that horse circling me while I'm driving the four-wheeler.
Nice.
And it's just a matter of, you know, this is all about, you know, Misty hasn't worked with her for about a week, well, 10 days probably, because she's been so busy at work. So this is just all a matter of just, you know, her starting to trust and totally buying into this.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you guys were able to come, because then, you know, she can trust you guys here, and hope, you know, you can start working on
it's
that.
Really all about, you know, just taking your time. You know, it's like we have a sign on our barn at home. You know, if you take the, what's your thing say on the board? If you,
Time it takes less time.
yeah. Because, you know, you could have fought with her and, you know, put that up against the wall and forced her over it.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing. You wouldn't have got the same result.
No.
That's what sometimes people don't realize. It's even like trailering, you know. Sometimes people just think, just get behind them and beat their ass. Well, first thing they think when they go to that trailer is they're going to get their ass beat.
Yeah. With Diamond, he was the first horse that I ever couldn't load. He outsmarted me pretty good on that. So I learned a little Prairie. That didn't really work out for me, for him. And then I learned some John Lyons, and that worked great. So I spent a month in a round pen with him. And then made arrangements to borrow a trailer for some practice. And then the week while waiting for that trailer, I did all that leading and loading video in between every tree and fence and over into every puddle I could find. And then the day we got the trailer, you know, I got to where I could send him in from about 30 feet, and he'd stand in there for a couple minutes. And it was a really good experience for me to learn, you know, how much that paid off.
We have a friend that his big thing is he gets them going in and out of the trailer so good. He'll sit on the fender of the trailer and send them off around him, and they'll go around the back of the trailer and climb in. And he's
great.
Still sitting on the fender outside.
Oh,
so,
that's great.
Listen, Brian, she does this at home, and I don't quite get this, but she'll come out here and she'll squirt like that. But in the stall, you never see anything like that. She has hard little bells, so I don't know if it's just
her dad, when he would get nervous, that was the number one way he expressed it. we'd pull in at a show, and it'd be, the runs. So she must have similar digestion. But with her dad, the way, it was that, and then if he wasn't happy about something, you'd see his chin go flat, and that was, but he really wouldn't come out of his shell a lot at first, and wouldn't really tell you what he was thinking, other than he'd just flatten that chin, and that was the only sign he'd give you about anything. And once, I spent a year with him, he was so expressive, and he loved to be petted, and he'd tell you all about what he was thinking. He really...
She get her nose dirty?
You see how her response was like, here, I touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gift will reach out and offer to bite or touch anything, or, you put the chair up there to practice, putting the bridle on from sitting down on the chair, and he'll say, oh, we're walking up to the chair, let me pick that up and fling it,
Yeah.
Look at her. Aw.
And, I was talking to you about, you asked me about mounting and dismounting from both sides.
Yes.
I'll tell you, you'll see as you work with her, you get 20 minutes or half an hour into it, and she just totally submisses. Mm-hmm. And so, those things, if you would try to get on or off her from her blind side, right when you start working with her,
yeah,
she might be pretty nervous about it.
Yeah.
But after you've spent 20 minutes working with her, and she just
groundwork working her, or
no,
riding her?
Even riding her.
Okay.
She just gets so laid back and so submissive.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things that you try.
Yeah.
I'm a big thing about. I don't let them get away with denying me something and thinking they're going to get off the hook. So. Okay. When you start working with her, the things that you do good, if you try to do something and she just refuses, and you start getting frustrating and you're like, screw this, I'm not going to get her to do this, then by all means make sure you go back to something that you can do well. Okay. So she doesn't start thinking in her mind, well, I pissed her off, now I don't have to do it. Okay. So make sure that you make her work, regardless of.
She thought about jumping it.
She, to tell you the truth, the first couple of times she jumped the barrels, she looked pretty awkward. But once she jumped like a deer. She jumped up and down.
Yeah.
But once she got used to that, she was much better at it.
Good girl.
But we have a couple water crossings that I've been working with her on, and
that's great.
The biggest thing to when you come up with something like that is just take your time and let her think about it the first few times, because she's going to make a good decision. I don't have any sense that she'll leap over anything for you. The plastic barrels that we use are like those white ones over there, and she'll get up against them, and when she goes to step over them, sometimes it's kind of clumsy because she'll hook her back leg on it or something, but she does it nice and controlled. And it's not, and she gets, and I don't think there's very many horses that can step over them without hooking them with their back legs, because they're pretty tall. And this is what I was telling Misty. Sometimes when you start lunging her from the blind side, what you got to watch for is sometimes she'll go out to the end of the rope, but sometimes she's not sure where you're at. So she'll act like she's coming close to you, and you just need to make noise.
And let her hear you.
Giving her a clucking sound or whatever, because she's not quite sure where, especially like where Misty's kind of behind her shoulder now. She's not really sure where she's at. And she does, when you start, for the first half an hour or so, she'll try to get going back the other direction, because that's easier for her. She can see better. And I have definitely spent more time trying to get her to go with that blind side towards me than the other direction, because she just is, it's not that she can't do it. She just is way more comfortable going the other way.
Thinking about that, Maria? Thinking about it?
Oh, what a good response.
Asking her, little by little, just, ooh, look at you, big Peter Potter.
And
Yeah.
I mean,